Inciting and inflammatory comments, in the words of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, might lead to reprisal attacks on soldiers because of the attack on the police. Is this a good idea? And in Osun State, 9 months after Gboyega Oyetola has been sworn in, the governor of Osun State has refused to constitute his executive council. What exactly is the problem? Well, this is Plus Politics, and I am Maryann Okon. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has ordered traveling officers and men to wear plainclothes while traveling across Nigeria. He is afraid that policemen will attack his men because of the slain policeman who died in Taraba. Now, here poses the challenge. I mean, how does the public identify officers in plain outfits? I mean, even with the men in uniform, we already have issues. So, also, is this the answer that he has to the police's many questions? Now, joining me in the studio to analyze this, I have Dayo Kayode, political analyst, and Francis Chilaka, both political analysts. It's good to have you both join us.
Thank you very much.
I'm a political technocrat,
okay,
not analyst.
That's interesting.
Baraka de Sala.
Same to you.
They are different
okay,
things.
all right, I'll take note of that. But I'm going to start with you, Francis. So, we have an issue that is yet to be dealt with. Of course, we've heard that committees have been set up to look into it. But in issues such as this, where lives have been lost, it's a sensitive issue. Should responses like this be the way to go?
Not at all. I've always said that those who manage communication for people in power most times do not know what they're doing. In a situation like this, what you're looking more at is an issue of reconciliation. Peace building and all of that. You know, so when the Chief of Army Staff begins to make inflammatory comments, it's obvious that at the back of his mind, he already feels that something is going to happen. And so what it means is that we're actually heading towards a state of total anarchy. Because imagine what will happen if policemen pull rifle on soldiers on the street, and then everybody begins to shoot. Who suffers it most? It's the ordinary people. I think that the Chief of Army Staff did not apply emotional intelligence when he was saying that. He should go back to his drawing board. That is not what he should be saying at this point in time. What he should be saying at this point in time is to reach out, you know, try to assuage the hearts of the policemen, try to find a meeting point. You know, two wrongs don't make a right. But when, you know, you're on this end making your own threat, this one is on this end making his own threat, at the end of the day, it's going to snowball into anarchy. And that's not what we want at this point in time.
Mr. Kayode, there has been no love lost between these two for several years. We've noticed that the police and the army have not necessarily had such a great relationship.
Not only the two of them. Not even only the two of them. As much as I want to agree with him, I want to be a bit different.
Okay.
He said, if care is not taken, Nigeria will drift to a state of anarchy. But I'm saying no. Nigeria is already in an anarchical state.
Really?
Exactly.
How so?
Because look at the myriad of insecurity breaches. And we continue to have all these the moment there is no synergy amongst our security apparatus. Because the security, the police, the soldiers, the Air Force, the DSS, the SSS, supposed to constitute the systemic force within our security apparatus. And the moment, it's just like you now, you are a system. The moment you have a problem with one of your teeth, just one, you know the kind of discomfort it's going to give the whole of your body. And that is why we are experiencing all this in Nigeria. Let's take from the beginning. Look at what happened to what's his name again? This chairman of the EFCC. DSS will give one report, SSS will give another report. And the two of them, they are security agencies. And they work under the same presidency. Now, look at what is happening now between the army and the police, and of which the police, the army is supposed to be a kind of giving the police a backing whenever they are going within the civilians to carry out some operations. The army is supposed to stay behind them and be watching in case there is a heavier power force attacking them. But now here we are. So when that kind of a thing is happening to policemen who had even gone to apprehend a known kingpin of kidnappers, and such a thing is happening to them, and then freeing the kidnapper, I'm telling you, are we not in an anarchical state now? Because the issue is, I said it sometimes ago. I said, look, if you are not decisive as regards this issue of herdsmen, it's going to snowball into something else. And look at where we are. I said it somewhere again.
But the army has recently been putting out statements saying they're destroying, they're bombarding,
Listen, since when have we been hearing that? There was a time they said technically defeated. There was a time that was this, there was a time that was that. But even at that, what I'm saying is, the bottom line here is this. There is no synergy that is supposed to be among our security apparatus, and which is not supposed to be. At the moment, there is no synergy. There's no way they won't be working against each other. And when they are working against each other, Shina Shebe said, things fall apart. The center will not hold. Then there's no how you can stop the series of security infringement that we're experiencing.
I would say this. I think the problem we're having with our security architecture is the fact that the army seem no longer to know their role in securing the nation. Mm-hmm. When you bring this military into politics, which is what has happened, you bring them out for election. You bring them out for everything. So where do they stop? Where does the police continue? Ordinarily, what played out in Taraba State shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened if really, like you said, there's a synergy. But the thing is that everybody seems to be working on their own. And then this is a country where people don't resign. Ordinarily, in the same society, the Inspector General of Police should have resigned. The Chief of Army Staff should have resigned. This is what should have happened, to show the fact that something has gone wrong in the security architecture.
But the operating word there is should have. But again, Nigeria is not the ideal society, and I'm using the word ideal loosely here, where when something goes wrong, somebody says, oh, well, because of what has happened, I will step aside until the necessary is being done. We are not that ideal society. So bearing that in mind, what should be the way forward? Mr. President's aide has come out to say, oh, well, don't get Mr. President's body language wrong. He's not being clandestine about it. He will do something. He's going to let the committees do what they need to do. But is that really what we need right now?
You see, I keep saying it. Shehu Garuba shouldn't be talking.
But it is his job.
He is not. Let's put it the way it is. He does not know how to talk when issues are on ground. He shouldn't be talking.
It's not usually about talking. Sorry, sir. It's not about talking now. It's about making our country work. All right? Because that is why we're discussing all these issues. Before people could be able to push this incident aside, and for it not to rub off on Mr. President's well-guided integrity. Number one, Nigerians want to know, who are those soldiers that are involved in killing these policemen? That's number one. Number two, what was their intention before they could do that? Because no doubt about it, they must have known the mission of those police guys when they were going in.
But they said the police officers didn't necessarily identify themselves.
Listen to me. Listen to me. When you are saying they did not necessarily identify themselves, does that now mean you should be killing? Bearing in mind, Mr. President said some few weeks back that you are going to bring all these soldiers to our highway to be guiding us. I don't know whether you understand. Well, so the issue is
and
this.
I'm not in any way holding brief for the army, neither am I doing same for the police.
Neither are we castigating anybody. We're only looking at it.
But the truth is that the modus operandi of both of them differ. One is trained to deal with civilians and the others are trained to kill.
But when you are trained to kill, where are you supposed to kill? You are supposed to kill in a war situation. Or probably, even in a war situation, you are not supposed to kill. You are supposed to use rubber bullet or water, tear gas or wherever. Are we in a war situation? No. Incidentally, those guys that carried out this operation, from what I read, because I was not there, from what I read, when they were going in, they saw them at that roadblock. And they even chatted with them, according to what I read. When they even entered town, they went to the DPO. We are from so-so place, this is what we have come to do. And they had told those guys what they are going to do in that town. All right? And then when they now saw them coming back, I read that they even waved. Because at that time, you have already arrested a hardened criminal. So you got to be at your toes. You understand? Then, what else? What kind of identity do they need? Does that call for shooting?
Okay.
Those are issues.
I have a question, because you listed some things that Nigerians are asking, or questions that Nigerians are asking. Now we know, and I'm not sure everybody does know, but if an issue happens within the army, they're not allowed to be dealt with through criminal or civilian courts. Yes, so they are court-martialed. And half the time, the identities are not necessarily made public, but you're asking for those identities to be made public. But again, let's also bear in mind that this situation is a totally different situation. It's not necessarily a war situation. It happened between the police and the army. So again, how do we sort this out? No. Yes, there's an investigative panel out there, but we don't want to preempt them. In the meantime, these people have families. They have friends. They have the citizens
policemen or the military?
The policemen. I'm talking about the policemen who are asking questions. The police put out those questions on social media. So for us, the civilians, where does this come
We're at the mercy of any man who's carrying a gun in this country right now. It has come down to that. And that's why I keep telling people, when you confront a man with a gun, you'll be very stupid to argue with him. Because what we have today is simple. The police cannot protect you. Neither can the soldiers protect you. In the span of 1 week since after this, if you follow the news, you'll see a lot of killings going on. So
even by the military.
So what is the problem? Wait, Maryann, is it that our military men need some form of emotional training? Something is wrong somewhere. There's so much anger, there's so much frustration in the minds of these men. And a man who is frustrated and is carrying a gun can do anything.
You see, I always say this. Whatever you see within the society, whether peaceful or what we are seeing in Nigeria now, is the creation of the leaders. And I repeat, creation of the leaders. Ask me how. Look at these school children. After finishing school SAT, the university is supposed to absorb you, okay? But the universities we have today, do they have enough facilities to absorb these children? No. What is the percentage of those of them that are being absorbed? Not up to 30%. The remaining 70%, some of them will now go to the street. They become vulnerable to different things. And before you know it, they become a security threat to the community. That is one. Two, look at the issue of herdsmen. I don't call them herdsmen, but I'm just using them because that's what people understand. I call them bandits. If, in the first instance, it had been nipped in the bud, it wouldn't have been. Let us even go to El Zazaki. I was discussing El Zazaki on a particular platform this morning. And I said, see, to me, El Zazaki shouldn't have been allowed to get to this point. Because within the confines of the community he'd been living, his neighbors have been complaining. That particular community have representatives, both in the House of Assembly, in the National Assembly, and they have governor. Those people, what have they done? El Zazaki didn't just started during Buhari regime.
No, it started
during Jonathan regime. So that anybody will not say, maybe I'm being political now. So they're supposed to have nipped it. If it had been nipped in the bud, the young NYC guy that died wouldn't have died by now. So the issue is this. This one has started again. Unnecessary
killing.
Extrajudicial killings. It has started again. It's rearing its head.
Let's
it in the bud.
Let's come back.
Let the government be decisive.
All right.
On all these
Let's
issues.
come back to the topic. Now, the army chief is asking that his men dress in mufti. Now, let's not forget that we also have policemen who wear plain clothes. Let's not.
Those policemen are detectives.
Hold on.
They are detectives.
Just hold on. They are detectives.
Yes. And they are supposed, they are trained to be
Just hold on. I want to make a point.
Mufti.
Hold on. Just hold your horses. I'm trying to make a point. These men wear plain clothes too. We have police officers who wear plain clothes. We have SARS officials who wear plain clothes that you cannot identify them. And they have been carrying out all kinds of activities.
Yes.
So I want us to go to a video clip that a famous musician, Nigerian musician, Yemi Alade, put up of somebody who works with her in the entertainment industry who was manhandled by plainclothes police officers today. So when we come back, I'll ask my question. Let's take a look at that clip. But in the meantime, let's go back. So that video, I'm sorry we can't play that video, but in that video, they were manhandling a man who was dancing in the streets. They literally just hijacked him and put him in a car. So I'm wondering, how does this help? Because even the guys who are police officers in plainclothes are a threat to us, the people. How much more the soldiers wearing plainclothes, Francis?
Like I said, we're all at the mercy of anybody that has uniform in Nigeria today. It's unfortunate that we seem to be going backwards rather than moving forward. We seem to be having a system where those who are in power, those who carry guns, are lording it over the ordinary citizens. But they make one mistake and they all forget. Every policeman, every military man is paid from the tax you, him pay. Ordinarily, their loyalty should be to the people. I keep telling people, we need to understand politics in Nigeria. Politics is about the people. It's not about the Mr. President, it's not about the governors, but it is about the people. And until we come to that realization that the people determine leadership, we'll keep having this problem.
Let's take a look at that video just so you can get a clear picture of what we're worried about and what we're afraid of.
Let me see.
What do you do? Don't do like that.
Why? Eh?
I'll break that. Why?
Me alone, Joe. You don't say me alone, Joe.
Why? I said that I'll break that. Why?
You go break my phone.
Break it.
But here, snap now. What did we do? Like, don't worry. You know what to do. I said I will break this food. Are you not hearing me? Oh God, are you not hearing me?
So literally, the police on its own is a threat to us. I mean, these people maybe, who knows, were shooting a video or something, but the man was dancing. And I saw that video on social media, Yemi Alade saying, you know, this man was arrested for just dancing. And we could hear her voice in the background saying, God help us. So if the police who is supposed to protect us and serve us is arresting us unnecessarily, putting us behind bars, not explaining to us what our crimes are, and sometimes killing people, like the SARS officials have been doing lately. And then the soldiers are in turn shooting at police officers and killing them. Like you said earlier on, maybe we are really in a state of chaos.
We're in it already, because number one, that video showed just an aspect. It didn't show the beginning. We wouldn't have known what transpired from the onset to where they showed. Then number two, it behoves on anybody. If police says, follow me, you follow. Even when you are innocent, just follow. It now behoves on those like Yemi Alade that was with them to now go to make sure that he followed them to wherever they are going to, and then make a case immediately and cry out. We have seen situations in this country where somebody was being apprehended wrongly and everybody decided to come out and the person was released. But now, based on...
But Yemi Alade wasn't there, as we hear. She
that's
wasn't
what I'm saying.
On the scene.
But at least there are some people at that scene.
Oh, the man who was recording.
Yeah, those people at the scene are the people that can tell us, or the police that can tell us what really happened from the beginning. But at the same time, the police too should know. The police too should know.
Can we also trust the police? Because there have been instances where...
No, let me finish. The police also know.
There have been instances where something different happened on the scene where you were being arrested. But by the time you get to the police station, the story changes entirely.
Sure, I've experienced it before.
So what do you do in that instance?
What I'm saying is this. We all know the kind of character that most of our policemen are made of. Policemen had come to my house some years back and they said they are in my house to search. And I asked them, please, can I have your warrant? Okay? And I allowed them to search. And they were searching, I was just following them. I wasn't making any fuse. And you now know what happened? When they finished searching, they said, well, sir, we are very sorry to come and disturb you, but you still have to follow us to our Oga. They took me to Mushin, that their Mushin office. I was living at Cement then, so you can see the distance. When we got there, they now told the man what's the experience in my house, that this man is a complete gentleman. I don't know whether you understand. And at that point, they tendered apology and they told me where that thing was coming from. Do you understand? So there are at times that policemen, they will act based on information, and you that they have come to meet, you now put on one kind of bragado attitude. No, so it will now confirm what they have been told.
We're running out of time.
I'm sorry, I think this is the problem. Nigerians need, I keep saying it, we need to be educated on our rights. A policeman that wants to arrest you should be able to read the terms for your arrest to you.
We have no merchandisement in Nigeria.
Yes, we're not in a jungle society where a policeman just walks in, he grabs you by the trouser, he says you're under arrest.
Because people don't know.
Because he needs to. We need to have civility.
Research.
No, we need to have civility in the society. If what is going on continues, like I said, we're running into anarchy. Because very soon, the people will begin to resist.
Are we not resisting already?
It will get out of hand. Because if the soldiers and the police are already doing police and thief battle, imagine what will happen when the people get involved in it. It will be complete chaos. So I'm going to say this to the police and to all our security architecture. They need to understand what emotional intelligence is when dealing with the public.
All right, well, we have to go. Thank you very much, Dayo Kayode, political technocrat.
Yes.
And of course, Francis Chilaka, political analyst. They're not going anywhere. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be going to the governor who has not yet put together his cabinet. And the question is, why? Stay tuned.